Hello, my name is Katie Manspowell, and today I'm going to be talking about virtual reality, more specifically, immersive virtual reality. Immersive virtual reality is now seen in things like the Oculus, but it definitely has a very long history attached to it. Today I'm going to be talking about what virtual reality is, how virtual reality came to be, how virtual reality is now used in educational opportunities, and also some related topics that I found were interesting. Immersive virtual reality is a 3D environment that stimulates reality. However, there's an awareness created for reality to be different. This was something that wasn't seen in the first virtual realities, and this is what really took immersive virtual reality to a different level. This fully immersible experience included all of the sensory organs and was created through real-world content virtually through a telepresence, which is essentially a simulation. There's so many different kinds of immersive virtual realities. Here are all different kinds right on the screen. They're through video games, they're used in different training purposes, and they're also now used in a lot of classrooms. Throughout the history of virtual reality, they wanted to create a look, don't touch media. They wanted to do this through interaction, and it started out through panoramic paintings. Panoramic paintings are seen like the panoramic mode on your phone when you take a photo. It essentially wanted you to create a larger scene or make you feel more present at this event that you were at or in a scene. This was used in military to create a feeling or a presence to real people not at the war site, to really see what was going on and to feel that emotion that the people in the military were also feeling. In 1938, the panoramic paintings were moved to a stereoscopic photo or viewer, which is essentially like a headset of glasses that use two-dimensional photos from eye to eye, two photos, the exact same ones, which turn into a single three-dimensional object. This was created by Charles Wheatstone. Since we see objects from eye to eye, it was easier to create this three-dimensional feeling, and you also felt more involved throughout this topic just because you had on the headset instead of just looking at the photo. In 1939, the Viewmaster came out, which is a very similar style of stereoscopic photo or viewer. However, this was more created towards children. I know I had one of these when I was little. I loved it. Essentially, William Gruber wanted to create a virtual tourism aspect. He wanted to do this by using that same glasses concept, but using film to change the photos and also to just change the experience. In 1929, the flight simulator came out by Edward Link. This was used in military in World War II. This is seen now throughout the movie Maverick, if you've seen that from Top Gun. They really use this a lot to create those aspects that we saw throughout the movie. However, that was something that's really cool because it is shown in 1929. That was when it was created. They used these to train the people that were flying the planes before they even went out to war to know exactly what was going on and to know exactly how to fix problems if they arose. In 1950, Morton League's Sensorama came out, which was essentially a really large process in the cinematography field. It created a motion picture system through 3D, wide vision, motion, color, stereo sound, aromas, wind, and vibrations. The way that I look at this, it's something very similar to our 4D theaters that we have now. They really wanted to get you inside of like an immersive experience and make sure that you were there in your movie. It was a theater cabinet to simulate the senses, which, as you can see over to the right, that's a photo of it, and you can tell that you're definitely in that experience. In 1960, the first VR head-mounted display came out with a telespheric mask. As seen here, a guy from NASA was using it. NASA really took off with the VR head-mounted display. They really started to use these for their astronauts because going into space was something brand new. However, all of these virtual realities that I have said are all non-interactive. So these are not immersive virtual realities. These are just the beginning of virtual reality. I thought these were really important to talk about because it took quite a few years to be able to even develop a single head-mounted display that was able to use electric power and not a film. But throughout the 1960s to 1972, many different non-interactive VRs were made. There were many that I have not spoken about. However, in 1975, the Video Place by Myron Kruger was the first interactive VR system. This is a system down at the bottom of the screen at the right. Essentially, you stand in front of it, and I like to say that this is very similar to the Wii. You essentially stood in front of it, in front of the screen, and the screen would move with you. However, you didn't have any joysticks or anything like that to allow the screen to know where you were at. It just knew where you were by projecting. Throughout the next few years, different VR systems were created. They were all interactive and immersible, which is what we're talking about today. The top ones from 1977 to 2012 were the Movie Map, NASA using the VRs for the astronaut training, the Matrix movie, which is very popular and definitely one of the most popular movies out there, Google Street View, which is something that I know I still use, and the Oculus, which is definitely most known today for VR. VR has been used in education in many different ways, and it's definitely ever-changing and increasing. It's getting used in many different forms, such as NASA for the astronauts, like I was saying, or even just for military for the flight simulations. Something more commonly seen throughout colleges now is the use of immersive VR in healthcare courses. This definitely took off in COVID when we could not go into clinical studies. Everything had to be done in-house at the college. As you can see, there's two photos, one on the far left corner and one on the far right corner. Both of these are nursing simulations used currently right now. They use these to help create life situations that are in risk-free environments. Many things can go wrong in the healthcare system. However, using these VRs really creates a safe space, and it makes the resident and the nurse way more comfortable. Schools are also able to use the VR in a sense of geography and also in science. Science is a very broad topic, but students are able to break down molecules that are smaller than the eye can see, as seen in the middle photo, which is really, really important for science-based studies. Related topics to virtual reality, immersive virtual reality, should I say, are the Virtusphere and the Third Space Vest. Both of these are used in military and police training. As you can see, I posted a photo here in the middle of the Virtusphere. The Virtusphere is essentially an 8 to 10 foot bubble that you can get in, and you can use propped guns, weapons, anything to help you get in a simulation to protect yourself for the military and for the police. This is a really good training, as well as like the flight simulations, just so there's an awareness of how to protect themselves and to get out of these situations. The haptic suit, which is an electromagnetic muscle simulation, is on the right. This one is a vest with many different pieces that go with it to really create that live experience. It's very similar to the Virtusphere, it's just more propped objects than getting into this bubble. Immersive technology is something that's super creative and has really also blown up since COVID. An example of this would be the telehealth visits where you go online and you can just meet with your doctor. There's also simulated reality, which is very similar to the holodeck or the holographic simulation room, which is a photo on the left. This is seen very largely in the Hunger Games movies, if you've ever seen them. They essentially go in and are in like a holographic situation, which is really cool because things like this virtual reality is seen in movies from years ago, not that long ago, but years ago, and they've definitely evolved, which is very cool to see. Immersive virtual reality is like reading a book. You really get out of real life and you get into something that's completely different. You can be anywhere or anything that you want. Immersive virtual reality also allows educational situations by allowing these dangerous experiences to happen, but to be understood and to change the outcome. They also allow an increase in the health education and also in education in general by just allowing more training experiences to occur. This is an overall technology that will allow everyone to develop more skills for tasks that could potentially follow up at a later date. Thank you for listening to my PowerPoint presentation, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.